This is Martin from ML Visions, and today I'm going to give you a quick tip about how to transfer data faster from your camera to your computer. This will actually work on most cameras, but today I'm going to specifically talk about Sony and my Sony A7rIV. Now, what I ran into was when I was transferring data from my camera to my computer, I was only getting transfer speeds from about 34 megabits or something like that per second. It was really slow. And with the Sony A7rIV, there are 61 megapixel RAW files that I'm transferring that take quite a bit of time if you're transferring only at that speed. So I wanted to figure out a way that was faster. And I knew that my computer had USB 3.1, which should be a 5 gigabit connection. And my camera has USB 3.2, which is also above a 5 megabit or gigabit connection. So both of them are above 5 gigabits. I should be able to transfer super fast. And so I went through and tested a few things. First thing I did was I got two memory cards. One of them was a 300 megabits per second transfer rate, and another one was 94. Both of them over the USB 2 cable did not transfer very fast. They were both going about the same speed, which is about 34 megabits. So then I just realized that my cable that I had, even though it was USB-C, which is the type of connection, even though I had USB-C, it was still only USB 2.0, which is a much slower transfer rate. So what I did was I had this, my slower memory card in there. I put in my USB 3.2 cable to connect the camera to the computer, and all of a sudden the transfer rate went up to 74 megabits per second, which was a big improvement. And then I tried the same data, same files exactly, and transferred those from my faster card, which was 300 megabits per second. And those transferred to my computer at about 107 megabits per second. And keep in mind, guys, that the cards that you guys get, those are theoretical top speeds that they're listing on the card itself. So even though it says 300 megabits on the card, it's probably never really going to hit that, or at least not hit it consistently. So I was pretty happy with getting 100 megabits per second coming from my camera to my computer, but I still thought that was slow. So then I tested a card reader that was a USB 3.2 and put the same exact card in there and transferred the files again. And I found that it would transfer at 200 or over 200 megabits per second. So that was clearly the fastest way to transfer, is if you take the memory card out and put it into a card reader. But it raises a question to me of why is it that much slower coming from my camera, right? In theory, my camera should be able to read and write just as fast as that card reader. And the cable is 3.2. It should be able to handle 5.2 gigabytes. So if you guys have any suggestions on why that might be happening, please add your comments below. I'm going to also add links below with the different memory cards and cables and things like that that I'm using. But so I wanted to test something else though. So now I know that transferring data, just files, can happen faster with the USB 3.2 cable that I bought. But now I wanted to see how it worked with tethering, because before with the other cables, it was just, you know, those raw files are large. And so anytime I took a picture, it took a second or two, maybe even longer, to actually transfer to my computer. And that's like an eternity when you're shooting live and you're shooting with other clients and they need to see what pictures are showing on the screen or on the laptop or whatever. So I had to figure out another solution for that. But now that I got this 3.2 cable, those files transfer almost instantaneously. So it's definitely under a second, and it's definitely much more reasonable. So I would definitely recommend getting a USB 3.2 cable if you haven't already. Now you can do USB-C to USB-A, USB-C to USB-C, whatever you want, as long as it's 3.2 and it fits into your peripherals the way you want. So with that being said, the last little tip that I have is about the memory card. So what I noticed with the 300 megabits per second memory card is when I'm shooting burst speeds or burst photos using RAW format on a Sony A7rIV Mark IV, it would buffer. And it would buffer up to about maybe 60 images, and then it has to reduce its buffer, so it's always trying to climb down, right? I found that it transfers way faster, or the buffer starts to reduce in how much is full, or whatever you want to say, much faster with the 300 megabits per second versus the 94 megabits per second, my slower card. I mean, it was easily twice as fast. I timed it, but I don't remember what the numbers are, and I didn't bring that with me. So if you're a sports shooter and you are a wildlife shooter or something else that requires fast frame rates for photography, I would definitely consider a faster card. And some of the cameras that, you know, don't have as high a megapixel count might not have an issue. I know that once I put my camera into crop sensor mode, it didn't have a buffering issue whatsoever. I held that button down and just kept taking pictures forever. I don't even know if there is a limit. I went way past 100. But definitely with the full frame, it has that 60 frame buffer. Anyways, I hope that's helpful. If you guys have any tips or tricks or anything else you want to comment on, please do so below. Talk to you guys soon.